everyone. Welcome back to DisLife Stories, the podcast where we explore the real, raw, and resilient experiences of people who've faced life's hardest moments and found a way forward. I'm your host, Tony White. Today's episode is one of those stories that hits deep. I'm sitting down with someone who used to be addicted to hard drugs, a journey that took them to some dark places, but also led them to healing, growth, and a second chance at life. We talk honestly about how it all started, what addiction really feels like from the inside, and how they found the strength to climb out of it. This isn't a lecture. It's a real conversation about what it means to survive something that nearly broke you. So let's get into it. My guest today is Laura. Laura,
Hello.
welcome. Thank you for being brave enough to share your story with everybody. I have a
Thank
feeling
you.
it's going to help a lot of people.
I'm a little nervous but proud, so
Well, we'll get over the nervousness just by
okay.
talking, I think. So before we dive into your story, who were you before addiction became a part of your life?
I was a pro inline speed skater, actually. My dad took me everywhere competing. I went to Canada, everywhere. I got third in the nation. And then I did cross country and was really involved in high school and everything. And growing up, I had a great childhood and everything. Fell into a bad crowd and a bad relationship, and it went
Right,
all the way down. So I lost my skating career, everything changed. And then there's like years that are blacked out.
right,
Every heavy drinking and then so on, it built it up.
right. Okay, what were you like growing up? What kind of stuff were you into besides skating?
I was really happy. I lived at the rink though, just so you know.
Right,
Yeah, and then I love shopping. I went to the mall a lot, but I waved at everybody, my mom said. Just everyone I'd be like, "Hi," you know. So I was outgoing and they used to call me Spunky Lola. So for me to have these mental health conditions and be so nervous all the time, it's so weird. So
right.
I'm trying to get back to that, right?
Trying to get back to your previous self.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
Spunky Lola girl.
yeah, I'm trying to do that myself. Can you walk us through the first time you tried drugs? What was going on in your life at the time?
This is unfortunate. The first time was with my mother.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was in a bit of an enabler. I think it was just like a fun thing to try. And I remember I was like, no, because I was into my skating. And then it came back into my life. I remember her buying my first phone.
Okay.
And then later on, it got even worse.
So the
But we
first
made
drug,
amends with each other before she passed. So,
well, that's good.
yeah.
So the first drug was marijuana?
Hmm. And they say that's the gateway. And you know what? I used to say, no, 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 but it just might be. All right.
Did you drink alcohol before you tried marijuana?
No. She made me like a cocktail drink at age 14 just to try because she made one, and then that didn't, and then I started drinking on my own
Oh,
in
okay.
high school. It started, yeah.
Did you ever think it would lead to addiction, or did it feel harmless the first
It
time?
felt like I was just, because I had a lot of pressure for speed skating and training and stuff. So I think I was just like, I'm going to be rebellious. I'm going to have fun and do what I want. And I'm just experimenting. I'm young. I could do this. But there was a time where I didn't have a choice anymore.
Right,
And I was literally walking around in a psychosis. Yeah, I was, like, literally seeing trigger warning, dead bodies hanging from trees, stuff like you could take that out if you want, but I was seeing demonic things that I knew I was crossing the line
right.
with
So
addiction, yeah. Like,
and
almost like spiritual warfare.
right. So when you were seeing that in the moment, did you realize it wasn't real, that it was due to the drugs, or
In a way, yes, but I still felt like there were times when I'd be like at this house, right? My parents both went to a retirement home. They got sick. Squatters took over the house. I got beat up. I got hurt. They sold my stuff. A lot of bad things happened there. So I'm still working through the trauma through that. Because it was the home I grew up in.
right,
Right. So, and if I drift off, just remind me where I was at because my short term memory. Don't do drugs.
right, yeah, it does affect it, and so drinking affects your short-term memory as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did the progression look like from trying marijuana to being fully hooked on hard drugs?
Okay, so what happened is I went through bouts of being sober, right? And then when I had my son at age 24, before that I had gotten a DUI, but I learned from it. I really did. I have not drank and drove ever since. I learned from that, thank goodness. But they gave me Vicodin for my back because I had four disc bulges. So
Right,
they kept giving it to me, kept giving it to me. And then they started giving me other medications like Xanax and Klonopin at the same time. Then I remember that doctor being investigated because people were ODing and stuff like that. But once he was gone, I didn't have the meds, right?
right,
So I went straight to smoking on foil with heroin.
right,
And then after a while, when you're around these certain people, it just leads to don't you ever pick up that syringe. That they say only 2% can get out of it.
right.
And it's been over 12 years since I've picked up a needle. And I am so proud to say that. I've had other relapses because I lost a son and everything I drank and stuff. No, never. Do not. You will be gone.
Right.
Say goodbye to your life if you pick that up. I just want
Eh,
to say that.
yeah, no, that's important, and to let
Yeah.
the audience know, my younger sister
Uh-huh.
got hooked on, prescription medication, and when she
Right.
couldn't get a hold of that, she went to heroin and
Unfortunately, yeah.
subsequently OD'd. So,
Yeah.
this
I'm
episode and
sorry
this subject is very
for
important
you.
to me.
Yeah.
It's important for me to get it out.
Yeah.
Were you trying to escape something, or did it just take over slowly?
Kind of took over slowly with peer pressure and with the pressure of like me being Miss Perfect because I was like president of history club, fourth in my division for cross country. I was doing all these speed skating things. And then that my coach was like, nationals, 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 we got to work on this. And so I was like, I'm just going to rebel and drink, you
Right.
know, which was not a good idea. And, I had plans to go to UC Davis, a really good college that I really wanted to get into. And it just all at once around 16 to 18 is when and we went downhill together. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So be careful. I also want to say be careful of relationships and people saying, hey, this will make the intimate time better, right? Try this.
Right. Yeah.
No, 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 no. It's okay. Right. Stand up for yourself. It's okay. It's okay to say no.
Yeah,
Right.
very much so.
Yeah.
What did a typical day look like for you during the worst of it?
The worst of it, I was literally walking around in circles, places I didn't know, literally getting in cars with people I didn't know, like literally not knowing what was going on. And people knew that and would pray against that because I was in California.
Right.
Right. So they would just get you in the car and assume that you were going to do something weird. And you're like, whoa, you get out of the car and there's some sort of fight and stuff or whatever. And then it was just really scary because I really didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Like I was scared. I had burned every bridge. People I remember the last time that got me off the street is the cops said, "Do you want us to take you to the hospital? Not get arrested this time." because I had
Right.
an abscess on my arm. And so then that's when my best friend Aaron came to the hospital and saved my life and got me in the program.
Uh,
Sorry, I rushed a little bit, but
That's okay.
I
What did you lose to addiction? Relationships, health, trust, opportunities?
would say all of it. I lost an opportunity at a salon. I was going to be a cosmetologist. I was a receptionist and I knew the salon owner really well. He was a great guy. And he offered me an internship, everything, for free, everything. I already worked there. I started drinking again and quit. Then I was a vet tech and I almost got promoted. I worked from kennel attendant up to vet tech. Then they almost promoted me on to oncology for cancer and stuff. And then I started drinking again. So drinking is a big part of my past, which I don't crave anymore. Thank goodness. You know, but I do wanna start going to meetings again,
Right.
going to AA and NA, and I did notice AA helped me a little bit more for some reason, but I don't discriminate on any kind of meeting. I like both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a rock bottom moment that shook you?
Oh, yeah. I don't know, trigger warning. So, there was this place where me and my ex used to always go to put, in our vein, and it was by a fire station, which was funny. It was like this little corner, right? And there I didn't have a needle, but I knew I needed one.
Right.
There was one on the ground. Guess what I did? I
Well,
picked it up and I used it. That was the desperation where I knew this is crazy. I don't
right.
know who used that needle.
Yeah.
Right. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm so glad my son wasn't around during he was with his dad, don't worry, around all this time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't with me, and then I got better and showed 3 years of clean testing and he's back with me, and he's getting ready to drive and everything,
Oh,
so
yeah?
he's
That's
such a
great.
good boy.
Did people try to help? And if so, how did you respond?
So a couple people tried to help. I remember my friend Alex trying to help, and I was just not getting it right. I was just like, "You're kind of tripping, whatever, right?" And he distanced himself. He was a really good friend. And then my friend Kenra tried to help, and it helped for a minute. I went to her house, and then I went to her brother's house, but I went back out. Third time around, I went into the program, it worked. I got a sponsor, I started going to meetings. Working on my character defects is the thing that helped the most for me.
Right.
Now I'm like the most honest, too honest. People are like, calm down. You don't have to tell me everything in this Uber ride, okay? They're like, know my life story. They're like, gosh, I have to pick her up again. That's
Right.
weird. But, yeah, I'm a pretty open book. That's what this, tattoo is a reminder to not go back to being that zombie girl. It's a face tattoo. It needs some lotion, but
I see
it's
it.
a
Yeah.
reminder to not go back there, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty dark tattoo, so
What finally got you on the road to recovery?
I think thinking of my son, I had to go get him back. I just
Right.
had to. It would have killed me anyways. I was gonna die. I was either gonna end up in prison, die, or get murdered by
Right.
somebody. Yeah, that's what I felt like. I was so exhausted. I mean, I was walking miles just around and then finding keys on the ground and thinking they were like for me, like, yeah, and then mistaking other people for other people. It
Oh,
was scary. Yeah. Like, so when you see people like talking to themselves and stuff, they just might be in a psychosis.
right.
Right. So they may need more help. That's why it's so hard. I want to help people that are on the street too that may need some mental health help too to get better because that's what I needed. And
Right.
not everybody has a friend to save their life.
Yeah.
Right. So
So what worked for you? Rehab, therapy, support group, something else?
My friend Erin and some other friends supporting me, and the support groups, the women's groups helped a lot because I didn't feel like, for some reason the men were hitting on me or anything. I just felt okay with the women at first, and then I branched out to co-ed groups and stuff. And then I even started doing some of the meetings myself and talking. So I know with me, it's just a learned thing I need to relearn to get more comfortable. And even talking to you can see I'm a little bit more comfortable, right?
Right,
Yeah. So it's just I need to start facing these fears, which I have faced exposure therapy with driving. I wasn't driving for years
right.
because I got in a couple of really bad accidents. That DUI was actually a four-car rollover.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense and scary.
And no physical injuries from that?
No, well, I got a little bit more in trouble. My ex-fiance was in the car, and all I remember is looking up, right? We had our seatbelts on, thank goodness, and seeing blood go on top of what is that? The sunroof. And I
Right.
went, "Oh, no," right? And they took him to the hospital. So I did, and then they drew my blood, and they didn't arrest me that night. 3 days later, they came to my house and were like, "You have a DUI." And they took me through for 3 days, and I was like, "Okay." Yeah, I was just outside, and I was like, "That was weird that they didn't take me because I was really, really drunk." I don't even remember getting in the car or anything.
Right.
Yeah, but
Wow.
I know it rolled 4 times over the divider, and it was raining, and we could have both died, man, and, yeah, and he got a settlement and everything, but he that's what I remember is the seatbelt probably saved our lives. Yeah.
I don't like how Chat GPT asks this question,
Okay. Yeah.
but I sent them to you and you didn't say anything about it, so I'm gonna
Okay,
read
sorry.
it as is.
Okay.
How long did it take before you started to feel human again? I just don't like the feel human again part. How
I
long
get what you
before you
I
started
get why
feeling
you
right?
say that, yeah. It took me, kind of a while because I remember going to meetings and stuff and hearing the fan turn on at Aaron's house and still like kind of hearing voices like a psychosis. But then when the fan would turn off, it'd go away. So I was having some mental health things still. So it took probably, I would say 6 months to a year to get
Right,
that pink cloud feeling, maybe of like, just like, oh my gosh, I've done this. I've done all these stuff work and I know now what I'm doing wrong.
right,
Right. And how I can help other people and be of service and all of that. And I think that is really for me. It's just I'm like almost scared of people all the time. And I just got to learn that people aren't going to bite me?
right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
Well,
I
you
don't
never
know. In
know.
this day and age, I wouldn't put it past some people. What was the hardest part of getting clean? Not physically, but emotionally or socially?
Actually, I had to move.
Yeah,
Yeah, I moved to Vallejo. And then now I'm in Utah. So I will never go back to that town
right.
because I know too many people and I know I just don't trust it.
Yeah. Easy to fall back.
Oh yeah, I if I went back there, there's plenty of people that know me, and I know they'd be me right back down. That's just kind of how some of them are, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
just people got to remember that misery loves company.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they will introduce you to,
Yeah.
it's sad, but
What do most people get wrong when they talk about addiction or addicts?
it's a judgment. Like like automatically, why do we have to be addressed as an addict,
Right.
right? why can't it be something else? I don't know how to answer this question. That's a good question. I feel like there's still a really big stigma on
Yeah,
addiction, on even the word addict or addiction, right? Because I don't even know how to explain what an addict is like. It's like spiritual warfare, like, things telling you to do things that you don't want to do, right?
right,
Or to escape from or relieve from when you know you don't need it, but you got to play the tape through and say, wait a minute, if I do this, this is what's going to happen.
right,
Right. You know what I mean? That's what I try to remember. My husband says all the time, if I start saying some weird things, he'll say, play the tape through.
right,
You know what will happen if you do that? It's not going to be good.
right.
Never is.
I feel what most people get wrong is, and it seems to be something that just happens innately, but it seems like they can't get out of their head that there's choice involved.
Right. Yes, I like that. Okay. Right. That you do have a choice. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Did you ever relapse? And if so, how did you deal with it?
So a couple years ago, my son, I was this big, pretty much. I had a stillborn. I lost my son Roland.
I'm so sorry.
Um, it's okay. It was really hard for me, but the next night I grabbed a bottle.
Right.
I said I grabbed a bottle. I drank for about maybe a week or two off and on, like at a friend's house and stuff. And then I realized I can't do this for my
Right.
son and for me and for everybody, right? I just can't do this. I'm not a good drinker.
Right.
Even though nothing happened, but who knows? I could have been arrested. I've been arrested many times.
Right.
Even once for blacking out and I guess threatening somebody. I don't
Right.
remember at all, but there were 6 cop cars.
Well, I'm sure they deserved it.
So, if you woulda saw me 12 years ago, you woulda walked right past me and been like, "Okay, stay away."
Right.
Yeah, she's a little scary and, she's not I was really skinny, just
Yeah,
did
you're
not look good.
skinny now. I couldn't imagine.
Oh, I was I mean, the sunken in feeling, right? I
Right.
have lost some weight. I'm trying to eat better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, it's working.
thank you.
What does your life look like now compared to then?
Well, now I did enter a recovery center to get the counseling, to hold myself accountable, to get the and then I want to do individual counseling, couples counseling, families counseling, just everything to rebuild my life again, not be scared to drive places, go on vacations, live my life again, eat
Right.
healthy, be more functional, not, isolate. I have a big problem with isolation. So
Yeah, I do too.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm not alone.
Yeah. What have you learned about yourself through this whole journey?
I'm really resilient and strong. And I have been through, I mean, there's so many stories I could tell you right now. I can't even remember. We may have to do another series.
We can.
Really? I
Yeah.
have kind of some funny stories and like trigger warning stories, but they're funny though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we'll set something up.
Okay.
What gives you strength when things get hard today?
Today, I would say my son, my family, my husband. Right now, I do feel like I need a bigger support system. So I am looking. I've been talking to my old sponsor and stuff, which is good. And some old friends from California and stuff that I just seeking
Healthy friends?
for hmm?
Healthy
Say that.
friends?
Yes, yes. Healthy friends. Don't worry. I should probably go through my friends list and actually look around and see
Right.
who's on there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I went through a part of my life where I decided to start to get serious, and
Right.
I looked around at my friends, and or at least who I considered friends at the time,
I mean,
and I started going, this person always wants me to do this, and doing that doesn't get
right.
me to my goals. So that person's going to have to be out of my life. And
Right.
I
Block.
started
Block
picking
them.
people out.
Right. You have to. Yeah, I totally understand that. And that's so funny you said that. A couple people recently I have had to block just from negative communication and stuff. I just get out of it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's affecting my mental health, so I have to block you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And that's okay. I'm learning that. I used to be a big people pleaser and agreeable with everything. And ever since I've started the content creation, trying to help others and stuff, I'm just like, no,
Right.
I know what's going on. Yeah.
If someone listening is struggling with addiction or knows someone who is,
Okay.
what would you want them to hear from you?
I would say, first of all, it's okay. You're all right. Don't feel discouraged, and you need to ask for help. Ask for some support. It's okay. Whoever you're comfortable with, whatever, go somewhere. You can even go to a meeting and just like look around. Somebody will hand you a sheet with phone numbers and everything. Just go. Suit up, dress up, and go. You can do this. Or just call a friend and say, I need some help. Can you help me? Direct me in the right way. And also, if you're in a crisis, a suicide situation, call 988. There's also some apps and stuff you can get on. But I know that they have some numbers to call right too. And then you could also go to Zoom and look up AA meetings in your town, and they I think there's a way that you could get it on your phone if you don't want to go to the meeting. You don't have to show your face if you don't want, or or the microphone. So if you don't feel, if you're nervous or something like me, and you want need a meeting, then just go to a meeting.
Right.
So just ask for help. Don't be scared. It's okay.
Right.
Just don't feel what's the word, down on yourself. It's okay. Everybody needs help
Yeah. Give yourself some
sometimes.
grace.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody needs support and community, a village.
Yeah. What's one thing you wish someone had said to you back then? Or is there anything anybody could have said?
I don't know if there is anything anybody could have said until a certain time, maybe. Like, Laura, I love you and I've watched you turn into something I don't know, and you need help, and I want to help you. Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, let's save your life, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a friend of mine, Pam and Kendra, they started a Facebook thing, like a group to Saving Laura Willis, it was called. That was my maiden name. But yeah, they had a group all talking about, helping out and stuff. And that's when Aaron came in and picked me right up. And I mean, I was crazy. He didn't have to invite me in his home.
Right.
He took me in, he got me in the program, he got me a sponsor. Then he said, Laura, 5 days a week or something. I was so mad, right? Because I was an addict. And I was
Right.
like, "What?" And he's like, "You have to go 3 to 5 days a week, meet your sponsor, this day, this day, that." I was like, "Okay, okay." And then I did it. And it's so funny because I originally planned on leaving and just getting high again, but something changed as the meetings came on. I was the one in the back, scared to talk, never raised my hand. And this guy one time said, "How come you never talk?" And I said, "I'm not ready." And he said something kind of rude, and that kind of discouraged me because I'm so sensitive, right?
Right.
But yeah, that was really odd. And I remember eventually I raised my hand and talked. Yeah,
Right.
and then when I moved, then I ended up doing the meetings because a friend named Larry said, "I want you to do the meetings." He talks me into them.
Really? So you
Yeah,
lead the meetings?
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So I was proud of myself for that, because it's hard. It was hard for me. I had to prepare myself each week for it, for
Right.
everything. Yeah, but it was great for me to know
Yeah.
that I can do that.
Yeah.
Because for some reason in my mind, I always think I'm incapable
Right.
of doing certain things. And I think a lot of that has to do with my addiction from before. That
Right.
like something happened to my brain and, oh, I'm just not functional anymore. But that's not true.
Right.
Right.
And you're
Yeah.
proving that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Laura, that was an incredibly powerful conversation. Uh,
Thank you. You're so awesome. I didn't even need my notes. You kept me really calm. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody in the audience, let's give a huge thanks to Laura for
Bye,
being
guys.
open and honest with us. Stories like this remind us that addiction isn't just about bad choices. It's about pain, trauma, survival, and ultimately hope. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, know that there is help out there and that change is possible.
Yes.
As always, if this episode moved you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, leave a review, and keep tuning in for more real stories from real people. Until next time, I'm Tony White, and this is DisLife Stories.
Guys.